Hello? I think this is the spot right here. I think this is my X. Hello, and welcome to Benny's Alternate Universe. I'm Benny. This is a show where you come into my world and we talk about what's going on and the stuff. And the things. And the stuff. This week, big news is the Chris Cornell Tribute show that went on in LA a few days ago. Today's Monday. I believe it happened last Wednesday. Sorry I haven't been posting any new videos. I know it's really making life hard for you guys, I'm sure. Whatever, I just do them when I do them. I have other stuff I'm doing, and I just talk about the topics that I feel like are eating away at my brain until I can't function anymore, or not to the level I want to, and I have to make a video and talk about it. So the show was, of course, hit or miss. There were some surprises, like Soundgarden played, Melvins played the Soundgarden song Spoon Man, which was kind of weird because, you know, Soundgarden has so many really super heavy and grungy songs. I heard people say Mailman, 4th of July I would have liked to hear. Even I could hear the metal side of Melvins playing Birth Ritual, which would have been sick, or Jesus Christ Pose, or even this tune we're hearing right now, which is called Full On Kevin's Mom, and this is from the album Louder Than Love. And I wanted to talk about Louder Than Love a little bit today, but also just give my impressions from the Cornell Tribute, what I saw of it. So Melvins did Spoon Man, which was cool. I mean, they crushed it instrumentally. It's Melvins. The vocal wasn't that great. Buzzo's a great singer. He's not Chris Cornell. And a lot of performances that I saw on YouTube or heard, that was pretty much my takeaway. Like Fiona Apple played. I love Fiona Apple. Love her voice. She did All Night Thing from Temple the Dog, and it wasn't that good. Didn't like it. I would have liked to see her play a little piano, do her own spin on it, which she didn't do. But that's enough bashing Fiona Apple. We love you. We really do. I was underwhelmed by that performance. Taylor Momsen, Gossip Girl, killed it. Fucking awesome. Totally unexpected. She played Drawing Flies, and they had the horn section. Sick. She played Loud Love. Just tore into it. Her whole swagger was dope. She had her hair in her face the whole time, screaming like Cornell, because he had a lot of swagger. And that performance, I think, is what got me thinking about Louder Than Love. I'm on a couple groups on Facebook devoted to 90s rock and Melvin's fan group. One of the groups I'm recently joined is Chris Cornell and Soundgarden fan pages. And it seems like this whole page is just dedicated to like stills of Cornell looking very beautiful, he had that poster boy good looks for sure. I mean, he was a good looking guy, and that's what made him part of what made him a great frontman. But I try and engage people and talk about, when was the first time you heard Soundgarden? Oh, what's the heaviest Soundgarden song? They don't want to know. It's all about Audio Slave. And see, here's another beef for me. Like, of course, I have nothing but awe, respect, and love for the incredible talent of Chris Cornell. One of the best singers of all time. But the guy could sing the phone book. And for me personally, Audio Slave was a huge, huge disappointment. Because I love Rage. I thought Tom Morello was one of the sickest guitarists around. And I love Soundgarden. So when I heard about this project, and when it came out, their first album, I felt that was an opportunity very much squandered. And they had the rhythm section of Rage, too. You got the whole band of Rage. And Chris Cornell. So imagine, if you will, the excitement of a young person who's been listening to Soundgarden now since the age of 11. And now, flash forward, I'm maybe 20 years old. The scene, quote, scene that I was really into with the grunge is over. Soundgarden broke up. Nirvana obviously broke up. Alice in Chains are on indeterminate hiatus. Pearl Jam to me was never really part of the equation, okay? So then I hear, damn, I gotta flip the tape. One moment, please. Stand by in Benny's alternate universe. Counting down, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. This is one of the things about living in an alternate universe. It gets real down here. Maybe I was getting off on a rant. I think the important part is that a lot of Audio Slave was played at this tribute show. And it just kind of went in one ear and out the other. I didn't like it in the first place. Temple of the Dog, I was kind of eh. Soundgarden, I love. One of my favorite bands of all time, without question, since I was a kid. Since I heard Bad Motorfinger, which I believe was in 91, could have been 92. Saw the video for Rusty Cage on Headbangers Ball. Exalted. Delighted. See, this posthumous, whatever you want to call it, of Chris Cornell representation, I don't know, of like, he's such a beautiful soul and this and that, and like he is, it's not something I dispute, but Soundgarden was a heavy ass band, and that's all there is to it. And for people who are already into heavy metal, namely Metallica, Black Sabbath, and whoever else, Megadeth at that time, that I was listening to, but definitely Metallica worship, Sabbath worship. Soundgarden was not that far removed from that, as opposed to Nirvana or Pearl Jam. Soundgarden was heavy as shit, and they had that traditional style on the lead vocal, metal style. So watch the tribute show, watch Gossip Girl sing good, watched a lot of people sing Audio Slave, thinking about Chris Cornell, and I started thinking about the album Louder Than Love. Second full-length album from Soundgarden, and the first on the A&M Records. And also important, the first one that they did with producer Terry Date. Terry Date is a pretty awesome producer. He produced some stuff like White Pony by Deftones, Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden, which is a sick sounding album, and in my opinion, their best album overall. All the classic Pantera albums, Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, and Far Beyond Driven were produced by Terry Date. So the guy knows a thing or two about making a heavy record. The first Soundgarden album, Ultra Mega OK, has some great songs on it, has some great performances. Nazi Driver is pretty sick on the metal end of the spectrum. Circle of Power, though that's maybe a little more punky. But the overall sound on Ultra Mega OK is kind of thin. Some of the production choices are a little 80s, little reverby, and it's a really strong and assured debut, but it was not as good as Soundgarden was going to get. It's not like an Appetite for Destruction where they came out of the gate fully formed and they would never be better. Far from it. Soundgarden went from strength to strength throughout their career. And I think most people would probably say that not Bad Motorfinger, but Super Unknown was the follow-up to Bad Motorfinger was really their masterpiece, their fourth album. And there's definitely something to be said for that. I mean, I was young and very impressionable when I heard Bad Motorfinger, and so that will always hold a special place in my heart. Plus, I definitely believe it has some of their best songs. Louder Than Love, Terry Date, Soundgarden. They've been around for a while now. They did their EP for Sub Pop, Screaming Life and Fop. They did their album for SST Records, legendary indie label from Greg Ginn of Black Flag, and that was Ultra Mega OK. It was good. It was really, things are going good for Soundgarden. Now it's time to step it up. And step it up they did on Louder Than Love. I think it cannot be questioned that Louder Than Love is Soundgarden's most metal album. And I say it's the most metal because consistently, from song to song, from track to track, they are playing heavy riff-based tunes with really dark and almost like very macho lyrics, or intimidating, dark and intimidating. Just the riffs are. This is I Awake. If you can hear this in the background, it's just this pummeling, really heavy, almost Melvins type riff. I don't know if they see, you know, with Nirvana you can point to certain patterns and say that's a straight Melvins rip. With Soundgarden, they were way too. They were master musicians, so they weren't going to straight rip somebody. But you may hear a little Melvins influence on a lot of these riffs on this album. And you're also going to hear a lot of interesting lyrics from a band that maybe as they progressed got known for their lyrics being a little more mystical. On this one, it's more direct, like when he says, "I want to be king," or "I got an idea of something we can do with a gun." Money can't save what the truth takes away. I don't know. I forget that one. And this one, I Awake, is just, you know, woke up depressed. I went to work. You have a good day. Good day. It's not your fault. Remember, I love you. It's almost like a Slint song. It's just a cryptic little 4 or 5 line poem. This had the famous tune Big Dumb Sex, which was covered by Guns N' Roses on the Spaghetti Incident. I know what to do. I'm gonna fuck you. And that was, I don't know if that was misinterpreted, or if it was not misinterpreted. I mean, Guns N' Roses was made out to be so square by the grunge bands, and they weren't, you know. They're like very streetwise. They weren't assembled by a record label by any means, you know. And so I don't think that they were like so, you know, glammed out that they're just like, oh dude, that's great, you know, fuck you. Like I think they did understand the joke, and they were just playing to the joke, and I think they did a decent cover. I don't know. That album could have been good. I wish I heard more Axl on there. Louder Than Love, the sound is pretty focused. Guitar-wise, the guitars are thick. The guitars have a lot of growl to them. It's not so much that they're super duper distorted. They just have a lot of low end up front in the mix. The drums are very live. The whole mix is really live. It's almost similar to Bleach in that way. Also the Charles Peterson cover. They share that in common. But where it was pretty consistent sound across the whole record, whereas on Bad Motorfinger they would experiment a lot more with the sound. Cornell's vocal, again, is pretty much metal across the board. There's a lot of high notes on Louder Than Love, and they just sound awesome. The way that Chris Cornell could hit a high note, scream on pitch, and lend a character to it that was menacing, all at the same time, and seemingly effortlessly. It was really, really cool. Now we're going to hear No Wrong, No Right. This is where he's talking about watch for tigers and poison snakes. It's all the same in the end. So many great lyrics on this record. Even though some of them are kind of dumb, like Full On Kevin's Mom is a song that appears twice. I used to love, as a kid, I loved this. This was my favorite. I had a friend in Kevin, of course, everybody did. And I just thought it was a trip. I enjoyed it. It was a heavy song, talking about how he had 3 friends. One of them messed with Kevin's mom. He's not saying who, but it wasn't him. And now things have changed. And then at the end, it comes back for this slow jam kind of. And again, this might be Soundgarden's way of making fun of arena rock, which is just so ironic because they not only became arena rock, they were designed to be arena rock. I mean, it's fucking Soundgarden, man. It's the Zeppelin of the 90s, or the Sabbath of the 90s. And Louder Than Love is the album where I think it becomes obvious that Soundgarden is one of the best bands recording today, at that time. In my universe today, but at that time, it's a very assured album. They know what they're going for. They nail it. So many cool riffs, so many cool things going on in the drums, and can never forget Ben Shepherd on bass because he has a lot of style too. But the whole band sounds great. It's a rocker. It's a killer album. Would I make it my number 1 Soundgarden tape? I would not. That would always gonna be Bad Motorfinger. Would I make it number 2? I don't know. If I had Super Unknown in my hand right now, the way I'm feeling right now, yeah, we're gonna metal it up. This is Soundgarden, Louder Than Love on Benny's Alternate Universe. Thank you for spending this period of time with me, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.